When I was 14, my parents took me to a Renaissance fair, like all normal parents do. And we saw people jousting. We saw shops selling swords and shields. We saw exotic animals jumping through hoops. But the one thing I remember the most was the juggling show during lunch. So we sat in this amphitheater of about 50 people, and we watched this vibrant jester with yellows and reds juggle and perform and tell jokes. I really wasn't paying attention to the jokes much. I was just entranced by the juggling. I was hypnotized. I was constantly watching each ball. And after a while, I thought, he's only throwing one ball up at a time. It may be at an ungodly, superhuman speed, but he's only throwing one ball up at a time. So I told myself, if he can do it, so can I. So I went home and I practiced. Now, has anyone tried juggling before? It's hard. I came home and I immediately practiced with 3 balls. I thought, I got this. I didn't have it. I would normally throw one ball up, throw the other one up, and then I'd just go out of control and miss all 3 completely. And this happened numerous times, kept constantly dropping them. But as a seasoned juggler, I've learned that through a lot of frustration, there are a few lessons that I learned along the way. So let's start with one ball. The concept of juggling is pretty easy. So since we're at an engineering school, of course, we're going to learn Physics 101. Bet you didn't think you'd get a physics lesson out of this. So the concept is you throw the ball up. Once it gets to the top of its peak, it stops, momentarily, of course, and then gravity goes back down, and it brings it back down. A lot of people will say, juggling with one ball looks ridiculous. It kind of does. But they might say, oh, that's not juggling at all, but it actually is. Juggling is what you make out of it. So the first lesson I learned is that sometimes we need a reminder that even the smallest practices can make a huge difference. So let's get on to 2 balls. With 2 balls, you feel more like a juggler. People often say, hey, look, I'm juggling, check this out. And the largest misconception that we have is that we want to pass it. That's a horrible habit to get into if you actually want to learn to juggle. The way you should do it instead is you think up. Whenever it's at the top of its peak, whenever it's stopped momentarily, you throw the next one up. And once you get in a good rhythm with it, it starts getting a lot easier. Now, everyone thinks, like, oh, I'm just going to pass it. But the trick is if you change your perspective, you change your view, you think up, up, up. So the second thing I learned is that a simple solution can start with a change of perspective. Now let's get on to 3 balls. With 3 balls, it's the same concept as 2. Once it gets up to the top, you throw the next one, and once that gets up to the top, you throw the next one, and so on and so forth. But the biggest trick I've learned in all of juggling is the 3-ball pickup. Step 1, you're juggling along, and you drop them. Step 2, you laugh at yourself and just relax. Take a deep breath and relax. Step 3, you pick the balls up again and you keep on going. The third lesson I learned is that failure is going to happen. It's what you do afterwards that determines your success. And the same goes for life. Albert Einstein once said, "A man who never made a mistake never tried anything new." So many people get within their comfort zone. So many people are afraid to make a mistake, afraid to explore, to try something new. And they just put themselves in their own comfort zones. So find your passion. Find something you're curious about, something you love, and pursue it. Accept that failure is going to happen. It happens to everyone. But things occasionally get you down. Accept that things will occasionally get you down. And pick yourself back up. And dare to explore.